Right, you'll be pleased to know that this video is a lot simpler than the last one. The last 3 videos are focused on price, elasticity of demand. What we're now going to be looking at is YED, income elasticity of demand. And what we're looking at here is the responsiveness of demand to a change in income. Okay, so again with this we've got a formula. And what we assume here is, again, ceteris paribus. The only thing that we're changing is the income. The price of the product is not going to change. The substitute prices will not change. Literally the only thing that we're changing is going to be people's income level. Okay, everything else will remain constant. Now, let's think about a few different possibilities. Let's imagine we were looking at the demand for a luxury holiday. So luxuries. Okay, now what you might find with luxuries is these are things that people really aspire to have. You know, these are things that you don't buy on a daily basis. These tend to be your big posh holidays, big brand new cars. It could even be an extension for your house for some people, designer label clothes. Now what you tend to find with these things is that as people earn more money, let's imagine people's income increased by 20%, you might find their demand might grow by 50%. Okay, now if you were to do 50 divided by 20, by my maths that will give you a score of plus 2.5. Okay, now normal goods. Okay, these are things that you want. You might not aspire to have them, but you want them. You might need them. Okay, so for me, normal goods would be, it could be nice bread from the supermarket, doing the shopping, for example, buying normal clothes. This could be, you know, even putting petrol in the car. Things that I tend to buy on a more day-to-day basis, if you like. Now, if I was to receive a 20% pay rise this time, what I might find is that I might buy, let's say, a few more of these goods. Let's say 5% more of them. This time what I'll get from the formula is plus 0.25. Think about what that means. With luxuries, my demand was very responsive to a change in income. For the normal goods, it's less so. Okay, if I were to get a pay rise, I will get excited about buying more luxuries. They're the things that people really, really want. Things that sort of drive people to work harder. I'm yet to get a pay rise and go to my wife, yes, we can now buy more cans of baked beans. We can now put a little bit more petrol in the car every single week. I'll buy a few more of these things, but I'm not going to go crazy. Now what this means is from this formula, if I were to get a number, plus 1, all the way to plus infinity, then what I'm dealing with is a luxury good. If I get a number between 0 and positive 1, then I've got myself a normal good. Now look at the outcome in both of them two different scenarios. As I earn more money, I buy more of both normal and luxury goods. But the difference is that for luxuries, my demand is responsive to that change in income. The change in demand exceeds the change in income. With the normal goods, well, my demand goes up as I earn more money, but it's unresponsive. The change in demand is less than the change in income. Now with this formula, there's also a third option, a third thing that can happen. Okay, so let's now think about what we would call an inferior good. Again, imagine that I had a 20% increase in income. What you might find for inferior goods is that my demand might fall for these. To give a number of minus 0.5, minus 10 divided by 20. So when I get a negative number, these are my inferior goods. In other words, as I earn more, I buy less of them. As I earn less, I buy more of them. Okay, so for the inferior goods, when I was 20, 21 at university, I used to travel everywhere by bus. I couldn't afford to travel by car. Okay, but as I got my first job and earned more money, I could afford to buy a car and therefore stop buying the inferior good. Okay. Other examples for a lot of people could be camping holidays for some people. It could even be cheap supermarkets, Aldi, Lidl. Cheap shops like B&M, for example, as people earn more money, they might choose to spend less at these places. Now, with this stuff, again, we can think about graphs. Think about a demand curve. Let's imagine that my income grows. Okay. Let's think about three different scenarios. It's the same set of axes. So price and quantity. Let's imagine that my income increased by 20%. For luxury goods, my demand would shoot out massively. For normal goods, demand will increase a little bit. For inferior goods, I earn more money, then my demand will fall. Now remember, we're keeping the price constant. So for luxury goods, price hasn't changed, but I'm suddenly more willing and able to buy a heck of a lot more of them. Normal goods, price stays the same. Yeah, I'll buy a few more. Inferior goods, price stays the same. I'm going to buy less. And the more I see it as an inferior good, the more my demand will fall as my income increases. Okay, so what you've got there is an overview of income elasticity of demand.